as we should have been. We'd have done with the Bible already. But just because it is me going at my own pace and nobody now run me down, yeah, that's why we're not finished reading the Bible yet. You know, we had a lot of little pauses here and there. But now we are close, and we are close to the end. We are at the book of Mark, and that's what I'm telling you. So the longest journey, as my granny always say, the longest journey begins with the first step. Anything you plan to do, all you got to do is start. If even if your start is rocky and dreary, and you're not sure where to put your foot next, the greatest thing is to start. That's always my grandmother's words. One, one, two, three. Bless up yourself. Good morning. Everybody who is here. One, roots. Oh, what they're stepping. Well, all the other people are here. Welcome. Thank you so much for popping in. Thank you so much for stopping by. We are going to be reading the book of Mark, chapters 2 and 3. You are welcome to join us. Get your book Bible or your Google Bible, whichever one you have at hand. Get it and come join us as we read. Now, for those of you who are just coming, I don't know what we do here. I am your host, Church from Traversins and Church from Steel News. I do not endorse any particular religion or denomination. Denominations are so divisive. They have caused a lot of war, and they continue to do so. I do not endorse religion. I do not endorse denomination. I endorse humanity. Yes, and I encourage everybody to find a peaceful space when you interact with other individuals. If you can't find a peaceful space with that individual, you take the high road and you leave them be, because not everybody was meant for everybody. Not everybody was meant to be your lover. Not everybody was meant to be your friend. So we are definitely going to have disagreements, but our disagreements should not lead to destruction of each other. Okay, religion, on the other hand, as we have been seeing, as we have been reading the Bible, encourages the destruction of the person with whom you disagree, and all of that. You know, you all know what I'm talking about. Therefore, I do not endorse religion. On this journey that I'm on in reading the Bible, I've decided that since the Bible was presented to me as my moral compass, and I'm expected to follow it and to live by it, I have to read it so that I know what it is that I am following, not just be glued to the scare tactic, the fear tactic, the fear mongering that is exposed upon me to say, you know, if you're not doing what the Bible says, you're gonna go to hell. Fire gonna come down from heaven somewhere and I go burn you and stuff. I don't want to just be a good person out of fear that this fire is going to come down and burn me up. No. I want to be a good, decent human being because it is the right thing to do, because it benefits, it positively benefits humanity. All right. So welcome into the live, guys. Thank you all so much for coming. This is not your usual Bible reading. If you are here thinking that you are going to find somebody preaching to you, trying to convert you or convince you in any particular religious manner, you are in the wrong place. that's not that's not what we do. That's not what I do over here. But anywho, without further ado, without much talking, because I don't have a lot of time today, we are going to move right along we are going to move right along into the reading. So get your book Bible or your Google Bible and move, and let us turn to St. Matthew chapter 2. Yesterday we were reading where Mark was presenting his his version of Jesus's presence. Okay, his the disciples and what happened during that period as it was being told or continues to be told, that story of Jesus's teaching and preaching and baptizing the people and etc. in the region eons of years ago. So let us move right along, gentle people. We are on to St. Matthew chapter 2. Well, and I always need more light, especially when I don't have my glasses on. So let us begin. Matthew chapter 2 says, "And again he entered into Capernaum after some days." Now, I am going to read the last part of chapter 1 because I want those of you who were not here yesterday, to get a feel of where we ended so that it will feel better for you to catch on to where we are going. Fair enough? All right. So, Mark chapter 1, I'm going to read from verse 42 to the end and then go right on over into Mark chapter 2. "And as soon as he had spoken, immediately the leprosy departed from him, and he was cleansed." Now, this was the man who had presented himself to Jesus with the leprosy. He presented himself to Jesus with the leprosy, asking for healing, and Jesus had healed him and told him that he should not tell the chief priest what had happened. But the man blabbed his big mouth, and instead of following what Jesus told him to do, he did the complete opposite. Jesus said, "Don't tell them that it was I who healed you. Instead, tell them that you use the remedy that Moses had always told the people to use." Now remember, the people back in Moses' time used to use the hyssop and ashes or something like that to cleanse themselves when they had leprosy. So here now, Jesus cleansed this man, healed this man with just without all of those things, by just touching him. And so the man was marveled by it. He was elated. He was excited. But Jesus said to him, "Listen, don't tell the people, say, this is how me heal you. But instead, tell them that you were healed by using the remedy that Moses had given to the people." The man went to the chief priest, and he told the priest that it was Jesus who healed him. And though Jesus had gone out to the wilderness, the people then search and search and found him, and the flock of people that came to him for all kinds of healing, he definitely was not pleased because the man didn't follow his instructions. So let us continue. Let us read the ending of chapter 1 here. Verse 42. "And he straightway charged him, and forthwith sent him away, and said unto him, See thou say nothing to any man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priests, and offer for thy cleansing those things which Moses had commanded, for a testimony unto them." But he went out and began to publish it much, and to blaze abroad the matter, insomuch that Jesus could no more openly enter the city, but was without. When it says without, it means was outside in these desert places. And they came to him from every quarter. AG is in the place. AG, bless up yourself. What are you doing, AG? Good morning. Happy Tuesday morning to you, my love. Now we move on to chapter 2. And again he entered into Capernaum after some days. And it was noise that he was in the house. So that means everybody now start talking. Jesus come. Jesus come. Jesus here. Jesus is here. And straightway many were there together, insomuch that there was no room to receive them. No, not so much as about the door. And he preached the word unto them. And they come unto him, bringing one sick of the palsy, which was born of 4. And when they could not come near unto him for the press, they uncovered the roof where he was. And when they had broken it up, they let down the bed wherein the sick of the palsy lay. You get it? Yeah. So there were so many people who had come to see him. There wasn't any room in the house anymore. There wasn't any room by the door. The people were so many they couldn't get in. But there was one person who had the palsy. And they lifted off the roof of the house and let down that person through the roof on a bed, just so that Jesus could heal that person. Verse 5 says, when Jesus saw their faith, he said unto the sick of the palsy, Son, thy sins be forgiven thee. But there were certain of the scribes sitting there and reasoning in their hearts, why doth this man thus speak blasphemies? Who can forgive sins but God only? And immediately, when Jesus perceived in his spirit that they so reasoned within themselves, he said unto them, why reason ye these things in your hearts? Whether it is easier to say to the sick of the palsy, thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say, arise and take up thy bed and walk. But that ye may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins, he said to the sick of the palsy, I say unto thee, arise and take up thy bed and go thy way into thy house. And immediately he arose, took up the bed, and went forth before them all, insomuch that they were all amazed and glorified God, saying, we never saw it on this fashion. They were shocked. Verse 13, and he went forth again by the sea again, by the seaside, and all the multitude resorted unto him, and he taught them. And as he passed by, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the receipt of custom, and said unto him, follow me. And he arose and followed him. Verse 15. And it came to pass that as Jesus sat at meat in the house, many publicans and sinners sat also together with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many, and they followed him. And when the scribes and Pharisees saw him eat with publicans and sinners, I don't know why I always keep saying Republicans, but I'm not sure. And when the scribes and Pharisees saw him eat with publicans and sinners, they said unto his disciples, how is it that he eats and drinks with publicans and sinners? When Jesus heard it, he said unto them, they that are whole have no need of a physician, but they that are sick. I am not to call the right. I come not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. Verse 18. And the disciples of John and the Pharisees used to fast. Really? It's kind of interesting here, so guys. Okay. All right, this is verse 18. And the disciples of John and of the Pharisees used to fast, and they come and say unto him, why do the disciples of John and of the Pharisees fast, but thy disciples fast not? Okay, so the people who used to follow John and the people and the Pharisees, those people had fasting as one of their rituals. So now the people are asking Jesus, you see, now they're trying to make sure now them compare Jesus to every other religious leader that they have encountered. They're trying to see the similarities and the differences with their gospel, the similarity and the differences with their presentation, the customs that they embrace. They want to compare. It's almost like it's like us today comparing religions or comparing denominations to see, who seems to be more wholesome, who seem as though they are standing on a firmer foundation. So here the people were doing just about the same thing. Yeah. So they are saying, the disciples of John, the people who were following John, and the Pharisees, they had their teaching, but fasting was important to them. How comes your people them not fasting? Because they want to say, no, well, if you not fasting, that means say that's a great difference between your religion and their religion. So now we are gonna have to choose which one we prefer. Do we prefer the religion that includes fasting or the one that don't include fasting? Are they trying to belittle Jesus's presentation of the gospel to say, well, if you don't have fasting in your teaching, we're not gonna follow you. You see, it's it's nothing new, guys. It's nothing new. You present yourself to the world. You and you come with the same thing that everybody else has come with. You see how hard it's gonna be for you to break through. It's gonna be hard for you to break through because the same story that everybody has is the same story you have. It's not gonna be any different. So the people are not gonna be as intrigued as if you present something fresh, something different, something new, something unique. And we see this all the time. You see, when those of us who are on the internet, we see people, those of us who are in the bottom of the bell curve, you know what I mean? The people who are at the tip of the bell curve, they present something quite different. They present something with a different kind of flair, and honestly, that is what is going to make you stand out from amongst the rest. And that was the religious intentions here. You got to stand out. You got to be different if you want people to follow you. Now, y'all remember when we spoke about the prophets, and I had asked, how in the world are we supposed to know which of these prophets was speaking the truth and which was not? Because all these prophets were trying their best to be different, to make themselves more recognizable, to make themselves more respected. So that to try to come with something quite different, something the people had never seen or heard of before. And then there were the ones who just fell in line because, hey, once I call myself a prophet, everybody's going to respect me and treat me differently, treat me better than the ordinary man. So I'm just going to put on a long robe, call myself a prophet, and tell them that I had a dream, and in the dream I saw Jesus, I saw God, whoever, and and present something to them that's going to make them respect me. But then there were others who wanted to go out of their way, people like Jeremiah, who, wanted to add a little bit more flair to their presence. And that's how it was. So here it is. The people are comparing Jesus's presentation to that of John's and the Pharisees. Let us continue. Let us continue. Verse 18 says, and the disciples of John and of the Pharisees used to fast. And they come and ask unto him, why do the disciples of John and of the Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not? And Jesus said unto them, can the children of the bride chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast. But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast in those days. No man also seweth a piece of new cloth on an old garment, else the new piece that filled it up taketh away from the old, and the rent is made worse. And no man puts new wine into old bottles, else the new wine doth burst the bottles, and the wine is spilt, and the bottles will be marred. But new wine must be put into new bottles. And it came to pass that he went through the cornfields on the Sabbath day, and his disciples let's read that again, verse 23. And it came to pass that he went through the cornfields on the Sabbath day, and his disciples began as they went to pluck the ears of corn. And the Pharisees said unto him, behold, why do they on the Sabbath day, which is not, why do they on the Sabbath day that which is not lawful? And he said unto them, have ye never read what David did when he had need and was hungered, he and they that were with him? How he went into the house of God in the days of Abiathar the high priest, and did eat the shewbread, which is not lawful to eat but for the priests, and gave also to them which were with him. Let's continue. How he went into the house of God in the days of Abiathar the high priest, and did eat the shewbread, which is not lawful to eat but for the priest. So only the priest was allowed to eat that shewbread. But here David He was hungry. So he went into the temple and he ate it and he gave it to the people who were with him. I'm surprised that Jesus used David as an example, but he did. But he did. Let us continue. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. Mr. Guys, every time I hear that term, I'm always uh, baffled by it. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. It is the Sabbath for you to do as I say on the Sabbath, but not the Sabbath to do unto you. It's a little bit complicated, but it is quite understandable. It's not one of those dire complications that is going to keep you thinking. It's one of those mild complications that's easy to interpret, if you know what I mean. The Sabbath was made for man. It's like you you have to read a book. Let me see if I can put this in an understandable way. Like you're reading a book. When you read the book, it's the book for you, but not you for the book. You get what I mean? You are reading the book, you are able to absorb what is in the book and modify your actions according to what is on the book, if that is what is required of you. But the book by itself is an abstract. The book by itself don't have don't have any reasoning capabilities. So it's the book for you, but not you for the book. It's the same thing. It's the same thing here. Let me read it again. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, but not man for the Sabbath. Don't need more than that. All right. Let us move right along. Thanks for the love and the likes and the follows, people. I sincerely appreciate you. The people on the tube, do not forget. Paul, bless up in ice cream. Say, good morning, my love. How are you doing? How are you doing? Let me see what time of day it is. Okay. We got about 10 more minutes to read chapter 3. All right, we are moving on to chapter 3 in the book of St. Mark. And he entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand. And they watched him, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him. You see that? And he said unto the man with the withered hand, stand forth. And he said unto them, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath days, or to do evil, to save life, or to kill? But they held their peace. And when he had looked around on them with anger, and when he had looked round about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts, he said unto the man, stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored whole as the other. And the Pharisees went forth, and straightway took counsel with the Herodians against him, how they might destroy him. But Jesus withdrew himself with his disciples to the sea, and a giant multitude from Galilee followed him, and from Judea, and from Jerusalem, and from Idumea, and from beyond Jordan. And they about Tyre and Sidon, a great multitude, when they had heard what great things he did, came unto him, and he spake to his disciples that a small hold on, and he spake to his disciples that a shell ship, that a shell ship would wait on him because of the multitude, lest they should throng him, for he had healed many, insomuch that they pressed upon him to touch him, as many as had plagues. And unclean spirits, when they saw him, fell down before him, and cried, saying, Thou art the Son of God. And he straitly charged them that they should not make him known. And he goeth up unto the mountain, and called unto him whom he would, and they came unto him. And he ordained 12. Hear that? He went up into the mountain, and he called them because there were so many people. They were, they were forcing themselves. Everybody wanted to touch him. People with the leprosy, people with all kinds of illnesses. They wanted to touch him. And so, he had no personal bubble at that point. Everybody wanted to be close to him, to touch him, because just by touching him meant that they would be healed. And that's what they wanted. So now he went up on the mountain, and while he's up on the mountain, he is picking and choosing who he's going to call to come forth to him. So here in verse 14 he says, and he ordained 12 that they should be with him, and that he might send them forth to preach, and to have power to heal sicknesses, and to cast out devils. And Simon he surnamed Peter, and James the son of Zebedee, and John the brother of James, and he surnamed them Boanerges, Boanerges. How that pronounced, guys? Boanerges. It's the first time I hear this book, guys. Yeah. At the first time I know so Jesus to give the people them surname. Did you all know that? Never know that. So let me read that again. Verse 14, and he ordained 12 that they should be with him, and that he might send them forth to preach, and to have power to heal sicknesses, and to cast out devils. And Simon he surnamed Peter, and James the son of Zebedee, and John the brother of James, and he surnamed them Boanerges, which is the sons of thunder. That's interesting. Whoa. Okay. Verse 18, and Andrew and Philip, and Bartholomew and Matthew, and Thomas, and James the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus, and Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, which also betrayed him, and they went into a house. So you see, guys, Mark's account of what happened, and Matthew's account you can compare the two, because the Bible isn't written in chronological order. There is nothing chronological about the order in which the books of the Bible have been presented to us. So when we read now in Mark about Judas Iscariot, even though we had read in Matthew that Judas Iscariot had unalived himself after he betrayed Jesus, I want you to understand, those of you who don't already know, that Matthew is giving his account. Mark is giving his account. Okay, so the informations are indeed going to overlap some. Okay, let us continue. And the multitude came together again, so that they could not so much as eat bread. And when his friends heard of it, they went out to lay hold on him, for they said, He is beside himself. And the scribes which came down from Jerusalem said, He hath Beelzebub, and by the prince of the devils casteth he out devils. And he called them unto him, and said unto them in parables, How can Satan cast out Satan? Hey. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself, and he divided, he cannot stand, but at an end. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. Now, that is self-explanatory. You can't enter into a strong man's house and go mash up his house, unless that strong man has been incapacitated in one way or the other. But if you enter into a strong man's house and try to destroy his place, he's going to destroy you. Let's continue. Verse 28, Verily I say unto you, all sins shall be forgiven unto the sons of men, and blasphemies wherewithsoever they shall blaspheme. But he that shall blaspheme against the Holy Ghost hath never forgiveness, but is in danger of eternal damnation. Well, I'm read this today again. Verse 28, Verily I say unto you, all sins shall be forgiven unto the sons of men, and blasphemies wherewithsoever they shall blaspheme. But he that shall blaspheme against the Holy Ghost hath never forgiveness, but is in danger of eternal damnation, because they said, He hath an unclean spirit. There came then his brethren and his mother, and standing outside, sent unto him, calling him. And the multitude sat round about him, and they said unto him, Behold, your mother and your brother are outside looking for you. And he answered them and said, Who is my mother? Or who is my brother? For whosoever shall do the will of God, the same is my brother and my sister and mother. That's weird. So his mother Mary, the woman who had given birth to him. Yeah. So here his mother and his brother had come to see him. They were standing outside of the camp. They told him, Your mother and your brother come see you. Who is my mother? Who is my brother? Your mother will give birth to you. Your brother, your mother's other son. Yeah. Jesus say, uh-uh. Anybody, I'm saying, Jesus said, whosoever shall do the will of God, that is my brother, that is my sister, that is my mother. So if you do the will of God, he call you his brother, his sister, his mother. But I'm not sure what he was saying there, like that was a kind of a disregard for his earthly mother Mary, a disregard for his earthly brother. Mm, yeah, like I'm on a different level now. Yeah, don't refer to them as my mother, my brother, my sister, because everybody who obey the will of God can be given that title. Nobody with any special connection to me have to be called so. All right? Yeah, Jesus was putting them in their place right there. But anyway, guys, that's where we are going to end the reading for this morning. I want to say thanks to everybody who came into the live, the new followers, the loves and the lights. I sincerely appreciate you all, my friends. That was a powerful to read right there. All right. The Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. That is the most profound statement I have read this morning. Yeah. And with that, my friends, AG, Winsome, where they, and the others. With that, Paul, and everybody else. That's going to be the end of the reading for this morning. I want to say thanks to everybody who came into the reading, came to listen. I sincerely appreciate you all. When we come back tomorrow, Wednesday morning, we will continue with the reading of the Bible. Tomorrow morning, we will have a little bit more time. So we will be reading chapters 4. Yes, tomorrow we will read chapters 4 and we will read chapters 4 and 5 tomorrow morning. So, guys, join me again tomorrow morning around this same time at this same place, either on the talk or on the tube, when I will continue my journey of reading the Bible from beginning to end. Until then, my friends, this is Trev from Treveson, where your journey matters. Now have yourselves a productive day, and I will see you all later. Later, guys. TikTok sick. How are you doing, my love? Good to see you. I'll see you later, TikTok sick. I'm off to the people's job, so I will see you later. Later, AG. Be safe on them streets, my love. Oh,